glad that you've joined us for another Wednesday in the Word. Today I want to share some with you about discipleship. Wonderful, wonderful topic that I think we need to make sure that we're grasping fully. Oftentimes, we make discipleship a program of our church within the walls of the church, when in reality, Christian discipleship, rightly understood, is woven into the life of the disciple through the life of the discipler. Jesus, the discipler, discipled his disciples in the classroom of life and not the temple in Jerusalem. You see, I think we've turned the church into a theological experience where people have to get it right or go home. Pastor, the church is not a theological classroom. It's a relational center where we share our lives with each other. Now, in that relational process, disciples are born and disciples are made. Discipleship begins at times even before one is converted to Christ. When people feel they belong, and when they belong, they experience what's going on around them even before they are converted. That experience of belonging whets the appetite to get in on what's occurring. Conversion occurs, and the process of discipleship must continue. Discipleship is that intentional, relational, developmental process of the people of the local church, where spiritual infants grow into spiritual maturity so that they are able to repeat that relational process with someone else. You see, the goal of salvation is maturity, and maturity is experienced in discipleship. Bill Hull, in his book, The Complete Book on Discipleship, on being and making followers of Christ. That's a wonderful book that I would encourage you to read. He says this: discipleship isn't a program or an event, it's a way of life. It's not for a limited time, but for the whole life. Discipleship isn't for beginners alone. It is for all believers for every day of their life. Discipleship isn't just one of the things the church does. It is what the church does. Author Dallas Willard said it this way: discipleship is the process of becoming who Jesus would be if he were you. Now that's a deep statement. Father, may the disciples of Christ in our movement be disciplers of those around them, until we all come to the unity of the faith, to the measure and the stature of the fullness of Christ. Did you get that? But I really didn't quote the whole scripture, did I? Paul said, until we all come to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God. That's not a head knowledge, an intellectual knowledge, a knowledge that is within the soul, but the soul as the steward of knowledge, as it is impacted by the Spirit of God. We move from just knowing about God through Jesus, but knowing God through Jesus. And that's what Paul's talking about. So look at it again. Until we all come to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, or we experience the Son of God. Then he goes on and he says, to a perfect man. Perfect not as in not doing anything wrong, but perfect as in complete or mature, fully grown, fully alive. How do you know if we're fully grown or fully alive? Paul went on and said, until we reach the measure and the stature of the fullness of Christ. So you see what he's saying? Until we all come to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, to the point where we experience the Son of God and we are receiving from, remember what he said before, and he gave apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, teacher for the equipping of the saints, until we all come to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, to a perfect man, to the full measure and stature of the fullness of Christ. I pray that word in Ephesians 4 and 12 will be deeply rooted in your heart today as we have shared together Wednesday in the Word.